Have you ever wondered how to build a supercar? Well, we have, and while we were in America recently driving a Honda NSX across Route 66 for a magazine feature, we thought we'd call in on the NSX factory to see how it was done. Honda has two car factories in Marysville, Ohio, in the eastern United States. One of them makes 800 Honda Accords every single day. It has been mass-producing Hondas since 1982. That's at 24,000 Honda Parkway, but travel past the Honda Heritage Centre, 24,025 Honda Parkway, to number 25,000. It's not as far as you think, you know. You'll arrive at a very different kind of car factory. It's the Honda Performance Manufacturing Centre, purpose-built to construct just 8 to 10 Honda, or Acura, depending on where you live, NSXs every day. This then, something different from us this week, is how Honda builds a supercar. And if you like this video, why not up thumb, subscribe, and if you turn on notifications, you'll never miss one of our videos. You'll know the NSX. It is Honda's supercar with a mid-mounted twin-turbocharged V6 engine, which has electrical assistance and also dual electric motors at the front. We like it a lot. We give it a solid 4.5-star road test rating, and it finished 7th in our Britain's Best Drivers Car competition one year. You can find a video of that elsewhere on this channel. The Performance Manufacturing Centre was created specifically to make the NSX. Around 100 staff are involved in a surgical, methodical and relatively labour-intensive build process in a factory where there are few internal walls and where every single build stage is open to view. The NSX has a predominantly aluminium structure. The pressed panels are delivered to the factory already shaped, but the structure, part space frame, part monocoque, is welded on site. That necessitates having a dozen different jigs, which in turn are fitted to any of 3 robotic welding booths. These booths are robotised to ensure consistency to the extent that Honda claims the chassis is welded to an accuracy of 0.1mm. Which means that, unlike other supercars Honda declines to mention, no post-weld machining is necessary around, say, suspension components. It comes out of its welding booth the right shape. To make sure each body has been assembled to tolerance, a coordinate measuring machine can take 2,700 points of data from 500 locations on the body, measuring tolerances to an accuracy of 50 microns. Now, a micron is 1/1000th of a millimetre, and the standard unit of measurement tends to be a human hair in these kinds of situations. Sure enough, 50 microns is about the width of a human hair. The space frame is mostly aluminium, with the exception of the A-pillars, which are steel. Now that complicates things. It means they have to be bolted rather than welded into place, and they're coated to resist corrosion because aluminium and steel don't get on terribly well together. But Honda felt it important to make the pillars from steel because, while aluminium can be lighter for the same strength, it also tends to occupy more space, which would reduce frontal visibility. The roof panel and floor, meanwhile, are carbon fibre, but they are not attached until after the chassis has been treated. There are 6 treatment tanks like this, none of which look like you'd want to fall into them, and it's by far the most industrial-looking process in the factory, and certainly the noisiest. Completed metal chassis are repeatedly dipped, first to clean them and then to prevent corrosion. Vast filters take out the nasties, and most of the liquid is recycled before each chassis is baked until cured. While the chassis is being checked and sealed, the body and other components are painted separately. Some are painted by hand, such as the front grille, which is black plastic already, but painted again so it doesn't fade. Meanwhile, the body itself is painted by robot, for the reason that it gives a better finish, as well as allowing for this fantastic robotic ballet. Each body consumes around 4 gallons of paint, more than 18 litres metric fans, as up to 11 coats is applied to each shapely NSX body. While painting takes place behind vast screens, chassis assembly continues alongside it, in the kind of order you might expect. Electronics and hardware are fitted first, with the interior coming towards the end. As with a large-scale factory, consistency and quality are key. Every single nut and bolt is tightened to a preset torque by a wrench which is connected to a computer. That ensures that everything gets the right torque, and if anything goes wrong in future, Honda will know where, when, and to what setting anything was constructed, so we'll know if any other car is affected. Even so, because the chassis is aluminium and a relatively soft metal, every bolt is hand-threaded for the first few turns to prevent cross-threading. The NSX's engine is also built in the US, though not in the same plant as the car, constructed by hand in a labour-intensive process. Each 3.5-litre V6 ends up on a test rig undergoing a 45-minute test and running-in cycle before it even gets near the car. The engine is dropped into the car, or rather, the body gets dropped onto the engine by hand. In fact, only one robot is used in the assembly area, full stop. That's to apply sealant. And the human element is crucial to engine installation. At times there is only 3 or 4 millimeters of clearance either side of the motor, and it takes more than an hour to install the engine into the chassis. Now the NSX is a hybrid, but it's a pretty mild system. There's no plug-in element, for example. In fact, the battery, which lives behind the seats, is the smallest fitted to any hybrid Honda. We're towards the business end of the construction process now then, and after the mechanicals are in, so begins the body fitment. That starts with one door, and then Honda technicians tell us the others are attached with panel gaps chased around the car, so it's like laying tiles. From the point the body panels go on, the car is pretty much complete, but from this point onwards there is still some serious proofing to be done. Honda has 12 patents related to the NSX's build area, and 6 of them are in quality control. Wheel and tyre alignment are checked on this rig with its purpose-built chair allowing access beneath to make it easier to work on, and check everything on the underside has been assembled correctly. And how do you calibrate the accuracy of your wheel alignment machine? With this rigid test chassis, seemingly constructed from indestructium, and not something you will knock out of alignment very easily. After being aligned, each NSX is corner weighted to make sure everything is where it ought to be. Then every car is dyno tested. First there is a run through to check the power delivery, then another to check the speedo accuracy, a third to check brake pressure, and a final one to test the parking brake strength. All in, a car is on a dyno for around 2 minutes. Final checks see each NSX bounced on a rig to make sure nothing falls off or rattled. Then it is driven into a very, very shiny room, beneath which is the factory's storm shelter, incidentally, where under bright lights the paintwork is scrutinised to make sure it isn't scratched. And after that, a more strenuous test, a water spray booth to test for leaks. Lastly, the completed NSX is out of the door. That happens less frequently, but with no less precision than an Accord from down the road. Thank you very much for watching. If you subscribe and turn on notifications, you will never miss another of our videos. We'll see you again very soon.